This topic deals with one of the more curious cases of Japanese paranormal footage, the so-called face new video, and the lost media surrounding it. At first glance, this video appears to be nothing more than an amateur trick. A boy jumps in front of a camera and disappears. Clearly a playful bit of camera editing. Yet, what has made this clip so famous and unsettling is the intrusion of a face that seems to materialize in the corner of the frame, accompanied by a sound effect often described as a soft "nyeh." Unlike the boy's disappearance, which audiences can understand as staged, the appearance of the face is interpreted as inexplicable, even supernatural. The video is best known for its broadcast on the program Uso Japan, which specialized in presenting uncanny and unverified phenomena. But what makes the face new case particularly compelling within the sphere of lost media is the persistence of claims that multiple versions of this clip do exist, and some of which can no longer be located. On Japanese occult forums, participants have long claimed that they saw a different iteration from the one widely circulated today. Some remember a version where the face was much larger and bluish, while others insist the boy looked thinner and paler, intentionally more off-putting, even leaping from a sofa instead of standing by a window. In these alternate accounts, the ghostly face sometimes entered from the left side of the frame rather than the right. Such testimonies, repeated over decades, have fueled the belief that there was once another, now lost version of the footage. Mixed up and varying recollections are anything but uncommon when it comes to lost television programming, especially when the programming itself is related to some element of fear or surprise. People's memory does tend to be fragile, so clips shown in the 1990s and early 2000s often aired once or twice, leaving no official archive, and fans have long been piecing together fragments from home recordings or written accounts. The face new videos seem to fit this pattern. For years, viewers debated which show first aired it, as it's been confirmed that this clip has aired on multiple programmings, at least based on all the multiple accounts claiming they saw it on different shows. Some suspected a late-night program known as 11 p.m., while others thought it originated elsewhere. Eventually, more concrete evidence surfaced. The earliest verifiable broadcast was not Uso Japan at all, but an episode of a show called Thursday Special. The show aired on March 28th of 1991, and that program not only contained the face new footage, but also various experiments and reenactments of the face new footage designed to test whether the phenomenon could be faked on camera. So, there were multiple different versions, but they were recreations of that original version that's already readily available online. Comparisons between the Thursday Special broadcast and the later Uso rebroadcast also highlight a subtle but significant difference. In the 1991 version, when the face appears, a sound resembling a telephone bell is audible. That cue is absent in the Uso airing. The original also displayed an on-screen timestamp, September 15th of 1990. Which marked the recording date and was very common on old VHS camcorders of that era. It often had the date up on screen because, home videos and such. Now, this timestamp was removed in later rebroadcasts. These small changes may have also contributed to the impression that a wholly different version of the original footage once existed. And when memories are clouded by fear, dramatization, or years of retelling and just changing up the story a teeny bit, viewers could come to believe that they had seen something that is lost. The Thursday Special footage itself complicates matters further, as like I said, the broadcast did not merely present the raw clip, but surrounded it with multiple recreations. Over time, viewers could easily fold these reenactments into their memory of the original, remembering them as entirely separate versions that have since disappeared. Unlike a wholly missing film or a deleted broadcast or scene within a broadcast, the clip itself still exists and circulates. The supposedly different versions, vividly recalled but never recovered, remain spectral presences in this discourse. And there are a lot of cases of lost media that have similar scenarios where a lot of people recollect different versions of things and they ended up, not being completely like that. Despite all of that though, the absence of the confirmation of those specific versions of the face new clip existing, like the one with the bluish face and whatnot, this absence fuels the same kind of search and speculation that drives other lost media investigations, and it's still going to an extent. So the general conclusion for many is that no genuine alternate version of the face new video is out there, just those recreations and different versions on different variety shows. Though it is still possible that those fabled alternate versions are out there somewhere. The Our Lady of Akita TV special refers to a now-lost 1979 live broadcast by TV Tokyo that captured what many believed to be a miraculous event involving a statue of the Virgin Mary at a convent in Akita, Japan. The statue was reported to shed tears, and sometimes these tears were described as being red like blood, and in addition delivered spiritual messages to a local nun named Sister Agnes Katsuko Sasagawa. Sasagawa had bore witness to numerous supernatural occurrences with the statue, with the earliest occurring in 1973. And according to Sasagawa, from 1975 to 1981, the statue reportedly wept tears on at least 101 occasions. This phenomena was observed by many, and supposedly even shown on live TV. Investigations confirm that the fluid was of human origin. Though who truly knows how official these investigations are, these events received considerable attention from Catholic believers, religious institutions, and paranormal researchers both within Japan and internationally. By the time the live TV broadcast occurred on December 8th of 1979, the phenomenon had already gained substantial traction in religious circles. The event reportedly took place just after midnight and was covered live, making it a rare instance of a supposed supernatural religious occurrence being televised in real time. The following day, clips and summaries of the footage were featured on Japanese news programs, reinforcing public awareness of the event. However, despite its religious and cultural importance, the full original broadcast has never resurfaced in any official capacity, and no complete video is known to be held in any public archive. What remains of the broadcast are only brief excerpts that have been used sparingly in later religious programming. A 1988 episode of the US-based religious network EWTN's Mother Angelica Live included a short clip of the statue weeping, shown during an interview with Bishop John Ito of Japan, who had been involved in assessing the authenticity of the Akita events. Another documentary from 1990 also included a few seconds of the original footage, reinforcing the notion that the full tape once existed and was circulating internally or used for select media projects. However, these are only publicly verified fragments, and they amount to only a few moments of what was reportedly a much longer special. According to entries in Japanese language media wikis and archival references, there are persistent claims that a recording of the full broadcast still might be held at the chapel in Akita itself, the original site of the apparition, though no third-party researchers, historians, or media personnel have been able to confirm this. References on an @wiki, a Japanese wiki site that documents lost media, state clearly that while the broadcast was aired as scheduled, no complete recording exists. At least not in any publicly known database or archive. They also mention local speculation that the chapel itself may still possess an unreleased copy, though again, this has not been officially acknowledged and the tape has not been made available, if it even exists to begin with. Despite the notoriety of the event and its continuing relevance within religious and paranormal communities, the footage remains one of the most elusive examples of Japanese broadcast history. While enthusiasts and researchers have managed to track down and identify some secondary footage from religious television segments and international interviews, the full version of that December 8, 1979 broadcast has never been released, leaked, or even conclusively verified as being preserved. Nonetheless, the story remains a focal point for those interested in modern examples of religious apparitions, or just occult footage in general. Now, Sister Agnes passed away in Akita at age 93 on August 15, 2024. This day is noteworthy as it's the day of the Feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. This day commemorates the end of the earthly life of Mary, Mother of Jesus, in the Catholic religion. Now there's the question of why it's not really out there. Some believe it may have been archived, but restricted due to sensitivity or respect for the religious nature of the content. Others argue that the tape may have been degraded, recorded over, or just lost at some point. Tapes being recorded over or just withering away and being too damaged to be viewed was somewhat common with Japanese television at that point in time. It was very common to just record over tapes and not really archive or preserve them. What is certain, however, is that the full program has not been made publicly available for over 4 decades, until the day the full recording surfaces, if it ever does. This 1979 broadcast remains lost. Hey, if you're into Japanese internet mysteries, lost media, and deep dives into all kinds of pop culture from Japan, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you won't miss what's next. A lot of people don't get notifications for my new videos when they don't hit the bell, so you can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, where my upcoming VTuber debut is happening on October 11th. I'm also going to be launching Sakura Star Supply Co., my new merch shop. And there's also my Patreon if you want early access to videos, as well as Patreon exclusive content every now and then. There's also a Discord server for fans, and shoutouts at the end of every video. So, yeah. This one's a good example of just how fragile digital media truly can be. Or rather, how quickly digital media can vanish. Known online as Is It Gross?, an incident in Yamaguchi Prefecture starts with an unsettling video clip that appeared online sometime in the 2000s or 2010s. The footage, which is now completely lost, showed a body floating face down in water somewhere in Yamaguchi Prefecture. Unlike a polished TV report, this looked more like something an ordinary person filmed, maybe on a handheld camera or phone. There was no television logo, no subtitles, nothing official about it. Just amateur footage of a body in the water and supposedly no commentary, just silence. So, like I said, we don't have the full recording online anymore, but what we do have comes from a blog by someone known as Koki, who had saved 2 still images from the video. Images that will not be shown on YouTube for obvious reasons. One of those screenshots shows a person in pale jeans in the river, and the other shows what looks like a parking lot with a police car nearby. The blogger also wrote that there were at least 3 different uploads of this same footage. 2 were already taken down by the time he looked into it, but he managed to watch a 3rd version before it was also removed. If you go searching for the video today, you won't find it. What you might find is a trace that it was once up on YouTube, on a cached page, with the removal message saying, "User deleted." That detail is important, because it suggests the original uploader themselves decided to pull the video, rather than the platform deleting it for policy reasons. If that's true, then the video wasn't removed because of an investigation or a TV crew suppressing content, though I'm sure the clips would have been removed by the platform itself eventually given the subject matter. This puts the Yamaguchi drowned body clip in an unusual place within lost media, one that a lot of digital lost media finds itself within in recent years. It leaves us with more questions than answers. Who filmed it? Why was it uploaded? And was it tied to a specific event or disaster, or just something a passerby happened to encounter? And if you're thinking that this case sounds familiar, or if it's something I've discussed before, that's because I have discussed a very similar lost media topic in an older video of mine. That topic is known as the Zoomin floating corpse incident, and is definitely the more well-known of the 2 pieces. For starters, Zoomin is a TV broadcast incident, one people in Japan claim to remember from the 1980s or early 90s, having seen it on television. The original rumor claims that during a morning broadcast of Zoomin, which is a popular morning news program in Japan, a camera cut to Ohori Park in Fukuoka for a weather report. In that live shot, a body could be supposedly seen floating in the park's pond. The on-site reporter allegedly screamed, and the control room cut away in a panic. Over the years, countless people online have sworn they've seen this on television, and the story became somewhat of an urban legend. What's crazy is that the Zoomin incident turned out to be not 1, but 2 separate TV clips that people were remembering as being one and the same. See, in 1988, there was a TV drama that had a fictional plot where a female news anchor witnessed a body on live TV and had screamed. This show was called Tuesday Suspense Theater, and this episode itself had Zoomin in the title of it. Now, fast forward to years later in the early 90s, and an official Zoomin morning broadcast at Ohori Park in Fukuoka had opened with the report of a body being discovered there. Though the difference is that the reporter was already aware of the body's presence prior to the report starting. Now, this piece, or these pieces of lost media, were unconfirmed for decades, and the existence of this lost media and it not being an urban legend or hoax was just recently confirmed in the past few years. Now, the Yamaguchi video, on the other hand, remains lost and technically unconfirmed, and there's also some debate online regarding the Yamaguchi incident. Some question if the footage was staged, though details about the circumstances still remain unclear and unable to be proven or inspected in any way. Even if the footage did once again surface, I don't know if it being staged or real could be proven or not just by the footage itself. Some believed it was related to a local accident, while others thought it might be a crime scene and it was wiped from the internet due to an investigation. However, no official reports or correlating news articles have confirmed the details depicted in the video. Though this was also a thing with the Zoomin piece, as people were looking for incidents of a body in Ohori Park for years and found nothing. Over time, this video became part of a very niche internet urban legend. The video's deletion from major platforms only added to its mystique, turning it into a bit of an internet mystery too. Though, as I've said in the past with this type of lost media, perhaps it shouldn't be archived. I first learned about this story through a Reddit post. At first, the details seemed a bit vague, but after researching deeper, I discovered this case was very real and very disturbing. And there is likely lost media attached to this disturbing event, or at least prior to the disturbing event involving the people who committed the things we're about to talk about. In August of 2021, an 18-year-old high school student named Kana Washino went missing in Japan. Soon after, her body was found in a mountain cabin in Yamanashi Prefecture. Police arrested a married couple, Shohei Komori and his wife Izumi, who both admitted to the crime. Investigators determined the motive was jealousy, since Komori had been talking online with this girl for months, and his wife became angry about it. The crime itself was widely reported in Japan at the time, but also sensationalized due to one element. The married couple were apparently content creators, and news outlets framed this story to highlight that aspect, even falsifying information. On September 1st, 2021, Area Dot, a magazine site under Asahi Shimbun, ran an article describing the perpetrators as a newlywed couple who love anime and VTuber avatars. This headline suggested their hobby was somehow linked to the crime itself. The framing caused outrage by many, as many readers argued it unfairly tied the entire online subculture of VTubers to a brutal crime. Under pressure, Area Dot changed the headline and apologized, admitting their wording was misleading. But it was too late. A lot of people were already spreading rumors that the people who committed this horrible, horrible crime were VTubers. And this online rumor spread very quickly. Some online communities began to claim that Komori and his wife had been streaming under the names Kurozakura Kagetsuki and Aruku Masha. This information appeared in scattered posts on Japanese forums and was later repeated in English spaces like Reddit. However, no police records or reliable news outlets ever confirmed these supposed online identities. When people searched for the channels tied to these names, they found very little. There was one YouTube account called Kurozakura Kagetsuki, but it contained no videos. Only a subscriber count of about 112 people. No archives, clips, or screenshots of past content could be located. Searches for the other name turned up nothing. Perhaps it was an account that existed and was later deleted. If the couple ever did create content under these names, everything has since been deleted or made private. No reliable evidence of streams or videos have survived. This uncertainty is what makes the story a piece of possible lost media. On one side are the verified facts. A couple committed a horrible crime, confessed, and their motive was jealousy. On the other side are unconfirmed claims that they had online personas as VTubers, with content that vanished after their arrest. Did these VTuber channels truly exist, or was the idea born from rumor after a misleading headline? The alleged content is effectively lost. But I will say, there are 112 subscribers to this account, and these 112 people likely subscribed due to some kind of content that was originally on there. You don't typically get 112 subscribers on a YouTube account with no content on it. So, in short, it is likely that something was up there at some point, not confirmed, but likely, and whatever that was is now lost. Omizu no Judenpa was a mysterious and chaotic website that once existed on the Japanese internet, but disappeared sometime before the year 2020. It was referred to as a denpa webpage, a somewhat common term online. In Japanese, the word denpa directly means radio wave, but online it has taken on a very different meaning. When people casually use it on social media or web pages, it usually describes someone who acts in a strange and confusing way, almost as if they're receiving weird signals from somewhere. Calling someone a denpa usually suggests that they seem disconnected from reality, unpredictable, or lost in their own world. It can sound insulting, like calling somebody crazy, but depending on tone, it can also be playful or used as a term of endearment. Really, it depends on the context. Denpa is now a fashion aesthetic, and fans of anime and doujin music use denpa to describe denpa songs, which are catchy, fast-paced tracks with surreal lyrics and chaotic energy. Though in this specific case, the site was known for being extremely eccentric and concerning. And what made this site stand out was its strange mixture of text and images, which seemed to make little sense even to people who tried to interpret them. Today, the site has completely vanished, and no archives or backups have ever been discovered, making it among the many recent examples of digital lost media. Despite its non-existence nowadays, it's pretty well known and remembered by many online. Many primarily recall that it was confusing and hard to understand. Few people could make sense of its layout or its content. One of the rare descriptions of the site comes from the infamous Do Not Search wiki, which catalogs the most unsettling corners of the Japanese internet. Don't go on it, there's a lot of really disturbing things on there, I am serious. All that aside, the Do Not Search page dedicated to Omizu no Judenpa offered very little clarity. It explains that the site only had a small number of pages and that the overall meaning of what was presented was very unclear. According to this entry, when somebody searched for the title, the website would appear as the first result. But later on, even that stopped happening as the webpage went down. By 2020, the site no longer appeared in searches at all, as if it was completely erased. Of course, the real mystery lies in the content that once filled those missing pages, and what about it was so disturbing. By all accounts, what appeared on Omizu no Judenpa was described as chaotic or just simply chaos. Instead of being a normal personal site or simple blog, which are pretty common in Japan, it was an odd and surreal mix of words, phrases, and imagery. None of the deeper pages of the site survive, so all we can rely on are secondhand accounts and the only sole surviving screenshot, which comes from a Korean blog post. Here it is. This one screenshot definitely shows why many found this site to be so off-putting. There's a background image of a red flower with multiple boxes of text and images scattered across the page. The imagery is surreal. A round glowing shape set against a dark background, it's probably the moon, I think, maybe, and an anime girl's face with its colors inverted. It looks like by this point in time some images would no longer load, so who knows what other wacky visuals were up in there before the site inevitably went down. Now, the quotes scattered around the page are cryptic and bleak, and a bit random. To translate the way this person talks directly or literally would make very little sense, by the way, as they write things in a very unusual way and blend different spellings and languages and even throw in puns. So here is my not so literal translation of these little quotes across the screen here. Life, to learn words, is the start of sorrow. Here, extra classroom. What can be loved is what doesn't know those who know. There's nothing really to write here. Psychothropic sanatorium. I am definitely gone. Also, this is not my site. Gomen yasai! This is a pun, by the way. They're saying sorry, but using the word yasai, which is the Japanese word for vegetable, in there. So gomen yasai instead of gomen nasai. Gomen vegetable. It's a pun. Innocence still lingers. Innocence, pure, teen. And teens in English. Emptiness, myomu. Myomu isn't a word, by the way. It's probably some kind of sound they're making or a made-up word. Being loved too much or not being loved enough. Which do you think is better? And last but not least, I don't have a favorite day of the week. This is the only known visual proof of the site's existence. The blogger, who goes by the name Rito, shared this screenshot of the homepage on November 1st of 2019. And remember, some of the images were no longer available by this point, and the site was not available at all by 2020, so this was probably among the last visits to the webpage itself, and things were already being taken down and becoming unavailable. Now, because of the screenshot, some have been able to at least reconstruct what the homepage looked like. However, none of the inner pages of the site were saved, so whatever else Omizu no Judenpa contained is completely lost. Some information about the site's creator, who apparently went by the name Tina, has survived thanks to the comment logs and the memories of people who encountered this site over the years. Tina, or Tina, was described as being surprisingly normal compared to the strange website they made, almost like a model citizen. Tina also identified themselves as coming from Okinawa, and at one point they said they were a bishoujo chugakuse, which means pretty middle school girl. Later in life, however, Tina reportedly pursued a career in technology and became a systems engineer. What makes the case of Omizu no Judenpa important is the way it represents how fragile internet history can be. Despite the impression it left on people, it was never archived or saved by anyone. Once the site was deleted, nearly all traces of this strange, bizarre site that people talked about had vanished overnight. This final topic is more of a rumor than anything, a rumor spread online in Japan, though it's a pretty disgusting rumor nonetheless. After the arrest of serial killer Tsutomu Miyazaki in 1989, an internet urban legend spread that a TV reporter at Comiket, which is a Tokyo comics convention with a lot of doujins and fan comics, exclaimed, "There are 100,000 Tsutomu Miyazaki here," implying the attendees were all potential criminals capable of horrible, disgusting things. See, back in the late 90s, the Miyazaki murders put an extremely negative stigma on otaku culture, as the media at the time made claims that Miyazaki was an otaku himself because anime VHS tapes were found at his residence, and a lot of media outlets fueled the sensationalism of this case and kind of made it go hand in hand with his nature as if it was just part of why he was such a disgusting, horrible person. An article on a Japanese wiki that documents lost media notes the rumor and warns it is unverified. In reality, investigations by journalist Ishido Ryuji found no contemporary news segment containing the quote. Ishido reports the phrase first appeared in a 2004 comic strip as a satirical joke, and thus was misremembered as fact. That same wiki entry explains that despite many online anecdotes, no credible video or transcript has ever been found of any news report saying that phrase. Investigators conclude it was a hoax, a joke in a manga later taken seriously by viewers. Thus, there is no real lost footage, and this lost media has been debunked. And that's about it. Huge thank you to Joseph Guerrero, House Harkonnen, Mono, Benny Fajardo, Creature Feature, Alex, Heaven Inner Chow Bao, Buddy Kitcher, Squidges, Eccentric Artist, Joshua Fain, Marcella Vial, Nobody Was Found, Nick Stuckenborg, Rambo Rao, Andrew Pashka, Justin, Ren, Night Tripper, William Baker, Javier Arajo, Jimmy Oliver, Disco Yeti, I'm Just a Cop, Pocky, Monty Pla, Misato Sumemasa, Mugen, Garo R, Rachel J, Vanessa, Raglan Strom, Rain Summer, Solid Ellipsis, Hannah Timberjack, Erlyn Kniflock, Connor McLaughlin, Jordan May, Shelfie, Stefan Bride, Creepy Lena, Gina Britton, Lucille Brown, I'm sorry, I thought it was Luke as in Lucas this whole time, I'm sorry. Pigpen, Lizard Queen 27, Newt Newt Fruit Shoot, Hexmaniac Hana, Chitoge, Jeremiah BLR, 322-322-32, Roro Morasso, Ellie L, Flo Ami, Meek, Sidnep, Hosea DeRoca, Akali, Red Hoodie 50, Karasiza, Iggs, C Chameleon, Digital Dub, Shivan Vashi, Pan Fried Life Jacket Awareness, Stadio VGM, Nadra J. Reese, Argua Bill, Christopher Valencia, PP Pasca Tag, Andrew LaPena, Mads House, Airfire, Grand Tactician, Soko, and B Shonen Knife. Also a huge thank you to my channel members, including Miles Roberts, Ink Kinney, Symbiote NX379, Cat Uncle, Mono, Kobayashi Kimiko, Marcella Vial, Vampire Bunny, A, Morbid History, Sabrina Brooks, Lost Library Book, Vinny Kills, Onyx, and Andrew Fitzgerald. Thanks again so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video with tech and trends of Y2K Japan.